Okay, next. Our program is actually a scholarship for the high school. Our next program is the exciting part of tonight, and that's the EOY. What does that stand for? Who knows? EOY, Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Okay, so because of the pandemic, so we haven't seen each other for more than 2 years. So this year, tonight, it's our great honor to have 3 awardees this year. So before we get on to that part, let's welcome the EOY Award Committee Chair, Dr. David Fawn, to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome.
Good evening. Every year during the annual conference, we honor established entrepreneurs as well as rising stars. And this year, we are honored to have 3 awardees. Traditionally, our awardees are mostly from Chinese American community. But we recognize that entrepreneurship and innovation is not limited only to a certain community. So we wanted to broaden the scope for our awardees. Now, started in 2002, CIE has been hosting the AAEOY, Asian American Engineer of the Year Award. And that certainly was a broadened scope in honoring Asian American engineers and entrepreneurs. Now, that was the national level. In the local level, in our local chapter this year, we wanted to do the same. So we broadened our search and we look at all Asian American potential candidates for our award. And so this year, we're happy to have veterans like Mr. Mir Imran, and also rising stars like Mr. Larry Liu and Dr. Jun Pei to be among us. Now, I just wanted to remind you, during AAEOY award ceremony, I kept hearing the awardees thanking, instead of CIE, they kept thanking CIA. And so, seems like there's some nefarious things going on, or something that our searching or recommendation process was dark, or some conspiracy was going on. But I would like to assure all of you, our selection process is all open, fair, and objective. There's nothing dark about our selection process. So I'd like to assure all of our 3 awardees, you don't have to worry about accepting this award. We will not blackmail you or threaten you or give you a hard time after you receive the award. You would go back to your normal life and have a peace of mind after today's dinner. So with that note, I would give the stage back to Christy so we can go on with the award process. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. David has been with CIE for a long, long time, and he is also my mentor who actually introduced me to CIE maybe 7 or 8 years ago. So thank you, David. Okay, so our first awardee, like David mentioned, is the rising star, Mr. Larry Liu. So let me introduce the introducer, Ms. Jane Xu. Jane Xu is the VP of Human Resource at WE, and she's leading the HR functions of the company. She grew the company workforce from 140 people up to more than 2,000 people right now. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Jane Xu.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jane Xu, the VP of HR at WE. Today is my pleasure to introduce Larry Liu, the co-founder and CEO of WE. Larry started a WE business to discover and deliver the everyday staple sourced locally and how to find products from global around with a very new standard of freshness and value. Before launching WE, Larry worked at Intel and Broadcom and ML in various engineering and finance roles. He holds a BSEE from Shanghai Jiao Tong University and an MBA from UC Davis Graduate School of Management. So I had shopped at WE for a while before I joined. It's so convenient to get my favorite foods and products delivered with a simple click. So I was curious to learn from Larry how he started a business, his mission, and how I could be helpful the first time we met. So Larry shared that he started the business in 2015 to smooth the commercial transition for group buying at WeChat groups. So in 2017, he refined the business model from platform management to online grocer after hitting the ceiling of growth. So he secured the fund, led the team in penetration the Chinese community in the next 2 years. Larry said, it's a one-time opportunity to build a great business in lifetime, another Amazon in food industry. It's so compelling. So I decided to join WE in January 2020 on board a rocket ship trip. In the first week when I started, the COVID-19 outbreak occurred first time. So it impacted people's work and life significantly. Most people have to stay at home. As a result, the opportunities for the online grocery industry have grown significantly. However, the labor shortage was getting worse and worse. So what should we do? Should we stick to our original business plan or shift our direction to expand ethnic communities and penetrate the new markets? After a few weeks of internal discussions, Larry concluded, it's a one-time opportunity. We couldn't miss it. So therefore, we launched an enhancement and expansion plan aggressively for geographies, product lines, and the ethnic communities. So now we kept running 7 days a week without a one-day stop since the pandemic started. Now WE is valued at $4.1 billion and operates in 9 metropolitan areas to serve Asian and Hispanic ethnic communities with access to authentic and exciting food throughout the nation. Larry and the WE team have come all the way here. We'll continue to enhance and build up our strengths to bring value to our customers. So let's welcome Larry to the stage to share WE's story.
Okay, thank you, Jane. That was a very long introduction. I promise my presentation won't be that long. First of all, I really want to thank CIE to give me the award. It's a great honor to be awarded that Entrepreneur of the Year. So I'll just give you a very short presentation of our company and how we got here. So for those of you who are not a WE customer yet, you should become a WE customer by the end of the day. And we are the largest Asian and Hispanic grocery delivery company in the US. So we have more than 3 million customers, over 15,000 products, and we have processed more than 20 million orders, and we have fulfillment centers, 12 fulfillment centers across the nation. And you can see our warehouse and our truck. And the company is funded by three engineers. I'm obviously the worst engineer among the three. I'm probably the worst engineer among all the people who got awarded the Entrepreneur of the Year award. But I did have a problem to solve because I came to the US in 2003. I was an engineer at Intel for that time. I live in Folsom, California. For those of you who don't know where Folsom is, it's the suburb of Sacramento. Has two big businesses. One is Intel, the other is Folsom Prison. And I had to drive 1.5 hours to Berkeley to get my Chinese grocery, or I had to resort to the 3 feet shelf in the local supermarket. But I didn't think that problem can be solved until much later, in 2014, 2015, the rise of WeChat, seemingly overnight, all the Chinese immigrants, Chinese Americans started to use WeChat. And I observed a lot of people actually form WeChat groups to buy things together. So that was really intriguing because for the first time I realized that there were a lot of people actually had the same problem as me. And also there was a viable solution, which the WeChat is a great opportunity, great tool to organize the people that have the same request or same demand. So we started a business. It was not smooth sailing. In the first few years, it was very difficult. Especially very difficult to raise money. Because I remember I talked to a lot of investors. They didn't even know Chinese Americans couldn't find food easily. They asked me, what's 99 Ranch? What's H-Mart? I've never heard of these. So it's very difficult to raise money in the beginning. But over time, because the company really grew very rapidly, and we demonstrated that the market is huge. If you look at the Asian Hispanic population in this nation, it has been growing at 3 to 5% year over year for the last 3-4 decades, and it's going to continue. And the food spending by this group is over $350 billion a year. And it's going to grow to more than $450 billion by the end of 2030. So it's a huge opportunity, and it's a once a lifetime opportunity. And at the same time, this community is so underserved. That's why in the last few years, we made a lot of mistakes, but the business, despite the mistakes we made, we were able to grow very quickly. As you can see, that's our revenue growth trend. So now, with a much larger platform, we also expanding our vision. We really want to become the culture leader that unlock the full power of food as both a mirror and a window. You know, food is our culture. Food reflects our culture, our heritage, our community. So by serving people the food, we're serving the community. But food is also a window for you to understand other communities, other people. So we really believe that that's a much better future that we should all look forward to. People's tastes are getting more and more diverse, and we want to serve that. We want to serve food to people so they can understand each other and they can remember who they are. So our mission is this. We want to challenge the world to taste life to the fullest. Challenge the world to taste life to the fullest. And again, really appreciate the opportunity to receive the award, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. So let me see a show of hands. How many people of you have used We? Wow, so that's a lot of hands here. So for the rest of you who didn't Show your hands. You are actually going to use we starting from tonight. Okay, so let me introduce the next awardee, Dr. Jun Pei. So his company, Septon, is actually very famous now. So if you do not know that, just see the stock. And that would be pretty amazing to see, a very amazing company. And let me introduce the introducer, Dr. Yiping Xu. Yiping is actually a very good friend of mine, and he is an expert in the area of developing advanced technology for overlaying and critical dimension metrology. Do you understand that? That's why he's the domain expert, right? Okay, he's the VP of Raintree Technologies Corporation. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Yiping Xu.
Thank you, Christine. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm honored to be here to introduce Dr. Jun Pei. I have known Jun for almost a quarter of century. We first met at KOA Tenko Corporation, a world-leading metrology semiconductor equipment corporation, in 1997. At that time, Jun was a fresh graduate with his PhD in electrical engineering from Stanford University. He had all the aspirations to do big things and great things, but with a little experience in doing anything. Just as most of new immigrants at that time, we were young, we were passionate, we were well educated. Of course, we all have ambition in this great country. Jun charged forward with all these characters to start his career, and certainly he had a great career. After about a decade at KOA, he joined Velodyne company to develop the first generation of LiDAR. So you may know what's LiDAR. That's for autonomous driving. There, Jun was the VP of engineering, but that's about 15 years ago. It was the foundation of Septon. He is a current company, and he co-founded. And this company was just went public at NASDAQ. Well, and after that, he was also founder of AEP technology that was focusing on the developing optical metrology earlier. All in all, Jun is known to me as a passionate technologist with endless curiosity. He came across also known as an inspirational individual who can gather a whole bunch of friends on a bus, and together they go somewhere great, as you know now. Well, now it's my pleasure, great pleasure, to introduce Dr. Jun Pei and to have him share his journey with you tonight in this wonderful place we call Silicon Valley. Please join me welcome Dr. Jun Pei.
Yep, please accept the trophy first, and let's take the group photo first. Congratulations. Yeah, this is a great award. Thank you. Okay, yeah, Dr. Jun Pei, yeah, the stage is yours right now.
Well, it's such an honor to stand here and receive the CIE award. I pronounced that right. To begin, I want to express my gratitude to all the CIE organizers, Brian, Raymond, I forgot Christy, obviously, Jonathan, all of you guys. Also, my thanks to Yiping, my friends of almost 3 decades, Junyi, and all those who actually entrusted me to work on LiDAR, this new technology for autonomous vehicles. So Cepton was created to enable autonomous driving. So we make this device called LiDAR, which is like the eyes for cars. The highlight for our company is a production contract from General Motors. So next year, you will be able to buy a new car from GM with Cepton LiDAR inside. It's going to be a much safer car. It's going to be more fun to drive. And to quote GM, it's going to be hands-free from driveway to driveway. I could talk about autonomous vehicles and how LiDAR works and how things will change all day long. However, for today, I would like to talk about something I feel more significant for this occasion. I came to this country 33 years ago on a scholarship. I started undergraduate studies at Brandeis and finished my PhD at Stanford. In this country, I was given the education of the highest standard. In this country, I developed the intellectual curiosity and enjoyed a rewarding professional career. In this country, I was nurtured by countless individuals of wisdom and integrity. Also in this country, I was assimilated into the melting pot of this inclusive culture called Silicon Valley, where I call home for the past 30 years. A few months ago, when I was standing on the podium at NASDAQ, ready to ring the bell, with all the spotlights around, I lost my concentration for a brief moment. I recall the day in the year 1990, again, almost 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago. I was in an immigration office at Boston. I was turning in my paperwork to change my visa status. That was the moment I would actually embark on a journey to become an immigrant in the US. My heart was pounding at that moment when I looked at the immigration officer's face, as if all my entire life ahead was in her hand. To a large extent, that is true. So she took this pile of paper I prepared and threw it right back to me, saying, "We cannot do it." My heart just sunk with such a gravity that I could still remember it vividly today. I've always considered myself as an extremely fortunate person in many ways, and it was even true for that moment when my very existence in this country was actually in jeopardy. Somehow, without any reason, an immigration officer, an immigration supervisor actually came along, and he briefly looked at my application and said, that's okay. So the first officer nodded and put a stamp of approval on the paper, and the rest is history. So I still get goosebumps thinking about that moment and how life would have been so different for me if I wasn't lucky enough to have the supervisor just happen to be there. From a foreign student to a fresh immigrant, all the way to where I'm standing right now today, I'm blessed with the fortune that I do not necessarily deserve. There's so many immigrants out there around us who are still struggling to be simply legal, struggling to be recognized, or even struggling to just survive. While we have gathered here today to celebrate the accomplishment we've made as a community, I beg a moment from all of you to think of those who are still striving to get the proper status, to find a job, or to fulfill their dreams. Of course, I also want to take a special moment to highlight the contributions made by the Asian Americans, as well as our allies, even under the very unfortunate times when hate crimes are increasing in our society. As today's business leaders, the responsibility to guide and provide for others falls upon us. I urge every one of you to think of our roots, think of the trying times that we went through. Think about how we can do better for those who are still fumbling their ways through. Let's set positive examples for the younger generation and encourage all the immigrants to advance. This can carve a permanent change into our society. Let's aim for a culture which new members will feel empowered in and empowered by. Let's help them to be vocal about their value and needs. Let's be more inclusive. Ultimately, we need to create a community that they will feel safe in, one that gives them strength and motivation to challenge the norms of inequality. Let's make this collective home of ours better. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the illuminating speech, Dr. Junpei. Okay, so we're going to welcome the third awardee very soon. And before that, let me introduce the introducer, and that's myself. So my name is Christy, and I am an investor and entrepreneur myself in the medical industry, in particular, medical device. I started my first company 6 years ago, and we sold the first company. And now it's getting on to the second and the third. We're actually providing the solutions for the spinal fusion surgery. And right now, we are going to launch the next generation spinal surgical robot next year. So Mir actually gave me a lot of inspiration around 7 years ago. I remember I met him back in 2015. The first time I saw Mir, he told me that he has already founded 28 companies in 35 years. 2 shut down, 15 acquired, 3 went public, and 8 remain private. When I heard that, my chin dropped. And I think probably everyone will, right? And then I was so eager to hear about his story. I was so eager to hear, how did you raise money? And how did you get FDA clearance? And how did you pass, the hurdle of the clinical studies? Not the PMA, but the 510K. How did you do that? All of those questions. But none of that. Actually, the whole conversation turned very philosophical, and very soul-searching. First, we talked about fear. Entrepreneurs have a lot of fear. Well, everybody does, right? But entrepreneurs in particular have a lot of fear. So Mir mentioned, well, fearlessness doesn't mean that you do not have fear. You just have to face it and conquer it. You just have to get out of your comfort zone, even though it means that you have fear. But once you get out of that, it means that you are learning and you are tapping the unknown. That's the spirit of a true entrepreneur. And second, he mentioned detachment. He said you have to detach yourself from the result. The result can be successful. It can be a failure. And actually this afternoon, he mentioned about his failures, if you attended the technical program this afternoon. So he said, only if you detach yourself from the result, you can actually make all the right choices, all the right decisions, because your decision will be pure and focused. And then finally, and most importantly, we talked about problems. Mir mentioned that we need to find the right problems to solve. Too many people jump to solutions too quickly and too much. And rarely do people focus on the problems first. So we need to focus on the right problems to solve. We actually need to focus on the right things to do. So we have to do the right things first and then do the things right. So in Chinese, we say, 先做对的事，再把事情做对. So that actually gave me a very deep impression 7 years ago. And that kind of paved the way for my philosophical mind until today. So for me, I think Mir is a scientist and is a thinker, is a doer, and definitely is a legend. So before we welcome him onto the stage, let me give you a little bit of surprise because I have another special guest to introduce. Okay, let's welcome Mir's daughter, Sarah.
Thank you, Christy, and thank you for the opportunity to say a few words tonight about my dad, Mir Imran, who is this year's recipient of the Distinguished Lifetime Achievement in Entrepreneurship Award. I can't think of an award that's more aptly named. Mir is well known in his field for being a serial life sciences entrepreneur, a venture capitalist, and a prolific inventor. He's started over 20 companies that have impacted millions of patients throughout the country, whose lives have been lengthened or saved by his innovations. So it's safe to say my siblings and I have a lot to live up to. In Silicon Valley, entrepreneurship is ingrained in our culture, but it can mean different things to different people. But what I know about entrepreneurship from my dad is that it's about questioning conventional wisdom, changing the status quo, and most importantly, making an impact on others. I'd like to share a story about one of Mir's first inventions when he was still an undergrad at Rutgers. One summer, he had the opportunity to intern at a school for kids with cerebral palsy. He developed a novel communication device that allowed a young girl named Jenny to communicate for the first time with her caregivers. She couldn't move or speak, but he leveraged what little movement she did have to enable her to communicate. Mir was so moved by the experience that at the end of the summer, he refused the stipend he was promised. He couldn't accept the money, despite how desperate his financial situation was at the time. From that moment on, he wanted to devote his life to helping others through his innovations. There are so many more stories like this over the course of his 40-plus year career, and what they all illustrate is how deeply my dad cares. He overcame tremendous adversity as an immigrant, moving to this country on his own at 17, and has paved the way for future generations of entrepreneurs. His heart, his tenacity, optimism, unrelenting curiosity, and pursuit of truth are just some of the things I most admire about him. I can't think of anyone more deserving of this award. Please join me in welcoming my dad, Mir Imran, to the stage.
Let's welcome Brian and Jonathan. Congratulations, Mir. Thank you. Please, Mir, the stage is yours.
Wow. After those two speeches, I'm speechless. And I must say, the two previous awardees, what amazing entrepreneurs and innovators you both are. And well, so it's such an honor to be here today and to receive this recognition from so many brilliant people here. I feel humbled and grateful for this award, and I want to thank Christy and Jonathan and Raymond and the committee for this award. And this award is for recognizing entrepreneurship. And speaking of that, I started as an entrepreneur back in 1975, which was quite a long time ago. I can't even do the math anymore. But I was an undergraduate student, and I built my first company, and a security company, since I was an electrical engineer, that I developed the technology, financed it with a credit card, but no, 2 or 3 credit cards. In those days, some of you might remember, when you got a credit card, it came with a few blank checks, and you could then write out the checks. So I used that to finance that little company while I was a full-time student. And it became very clear to me within a year that I didn't have the time to focus on that. So I had to shut it down and go on a payment plan with the credit card company, which wasn't a lot of fun, but I paid off the debt and decided that next time I would get more credit cards and then apply the Ponzi scheme so that I could take money from one credit card and pay the other. And so that second company, I ended up in deeper debt. And so that was the beginning of my entrepreneurial career. So if you guys want to change your mind about the award today, I can stop right now. So let's see. I went through undergraduate and graduate school and medical school at Rutgers, built my third company, which was successful, where we pioneered the first implantable defibrillator. Some of you may know what that is. It's a device that brings a patient back to life from the brink of death. And, I was in my early 20s, and little did I know how impactful that work would be. And it has become a standard of care, and after selling the company to Eli Lilly, I came to California. This work was done in Pittsburgh. And once I was here, I started building more companies, and soon realized that it takes a long time to build these companies. It's 8, 10 years sometimes. So I changed my model. I started building companies in parallel rather than sequentially. And that's how I ended up with 20 plus companies. Every couple of years, I would start a company. And what I learned early on was it was important to select the right problem to solve. And many of you who are entrepreneurs have learned that it's really the problem that matters. And if you select the wrong problem, it may not be very impactful, and you'll still have to work very hard. So it is critical that we select the big unsolved problems. And it's actually a lot of fun when you do that. You're going up. One thing I mentioned this afternoon that I really like about that, when you're going into areas that are not solved, the problems are not solved, you really don't have any competition. And just like your company, Larry, right? Yeah. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Great idea, right? It hadn't been done. And you really made that a reality. So solving big, tough, unsolved problems really became my passion. And only in this country, what my daughter was just saying, that I came here at age 17 with no family here. And just through hard work and a little bit of luck, I was able to accomplish a few things. And, you know, those accomplishments I can't really take full credit for, because I was accompanied on this journey by hundreds of engineers over the years. And, you know, a few hundred investors who believed in me and invested in me. My family, my wife putting up with my weekends at my office and not complaining. Christine, thank you. I want to publicly recognize that. And my children, who have also been always there for me. In fact, 4 of my 5 children work with me. So that tells you how lucky I am. And so I accept today's award on behalf of all these scientists and engineers and investors and physicians and patients who all made it possible. I should just add one last thing, is that security products was sort of my first foray into entrepreneurship. So in the late 80s, I'll tell the story later, but I built a company to create a electronic logbox for realtors. I think there are a bunch of realtors here. I met a few. So the electronic logbox that's used that records the time and date. I was robbed by a realtor a long time ago, who was a crook. In those days, they had brass logboxes, and nobody could figure out who came in and at what time. So when my stereo system was stolen, which I had built, I was quite pissed off and decided to do something about it. And that was one of the security companies, and I ended up selling it, and it's a standard in the industry. And then the second time around after 9/11, I started thinking how we can leverage technology. And in 2003, I started a company to develop the body scanners that you see at the airports, where you raise your hand and the thing goes around you and creates a 3D holographic image. So I did those things for fun. There was no FDA, no clinical trials, and start to finish, 3 years. So I was able to sell that company to a defense contractor. So those were the 2 non-medical things I did. And with that, I'm going to end my speech. Thank you so much. Again, I don't know if I deserve it, but I'll accept it. Thank you.
Hello, Mir. You definitely deserve it. Mir, can you stay for a few more minutes? Okay. So when I nominated Mir to actually get this award, and even when he accepted it, we didn't know a very important fact. Today is Mir's birthday.
Oh.
So he was kind enough to accept this award and to be with us instead of just being with the family at home. So today we have a very special event for you as well. So let's welcome Mir's whole family to the stage.
Oh my God.
And we wanted to celebrate this very special moment with you together. I think in particular, we want to welcome Christine and Mir's wife, who took care of all the kids, and that's so supportive. Thank you, Christine. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're going to have some champagne in a few minutes, but before we actually have the toast, I actually wanted to ask a couple of questions for you guys. Okay, how do you feel? Like, every one of you, maybe think of one sentence that you want to say about your father. No pressure. Okay. So maybe we should go to Christine first. Christine, do you want to say something to Mir? Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, on the spot. I haven't prepared something, but I am just so beyond proud of my dad. You know, I joke a lot of the time that he's a lot to live up to, but yeah, we're just so proud and so happy to be here with him tonight on his birthday. Happy birthday. I love you. I love you so much.
Happy birthday, Dad. I am so proud of you. You inspire me every single day, and I love seeing you when I come into work. It's the highlight of my day. And yes, happy birthday, and you definitely deserve this award.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's give them another big round of applause. Happy birthday, Mir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, next. Our program is actually a scholarship for the high school students, and which is always very important in every year's annual conference. So this is the 2002 CIE Scholarship Awards, and we have a lot of awardees tonight. So first of all, let's welcome the awards, the Scholarship Awards Committee Chair, Dr. T.C. Yan, to the stage. T.C., please, welcome.
Thank you, Christy. Okay, first of all, and thank you everybody for staying here up to this point. I think right now is the most exciting part of tonight, right? And for the high school scholarship, CIE will appreciate Dr. Darling Xu's sponsorship in this scholarship. Like we mentioned earlier, Dr. Darling Xu is the founding president of this San Francisco chapter in 1979. And this is the 43rd annual conference of the San Francisco chapter. So we really appreciate for that. And for the high school scholarship, each year, CIE provides a scholarship to the outstanding students in this area. And we not only look at the academic performances, we also look at the extracurricular activities and community services. And this year we selected 10 very good students, and we have a lot of applicants. And so congratulations to the winners. Yeah. So now I would like to invite our chairman, Raymond Chen, to be on the stage to present the award, certificates award. Yeah, let's welcome our chairman, Raymond Chen.
Okay, welcome. Okay, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to announce the students' name one by one, and please come to the stage, and once you get the award, please stay on the stage as well. And we're going to take a group photo shortly. Andrew Tron. Congratulations, Andrew. Next, we have Anu Ye. Congratulations, Anouk. Congratulations. Next, we have Duke Ye. Congratulations, Duke. Next, we have Edith Chang. Edith, please come to the stage. Congratulations, Edith. Next, we have Evan Liu. Congratulations, Evan. And we have the next Evan O. Yang. Congratulations, Evan, number 2. Please. Kyle Peng. Congratulations, Kyle. Next, we have Logan Chu. Congratulations, Logan. Next, we have Phoebe Chan. Congratulations, Phoebe. Next, we have Rachel Yen. Congratulations, Rachel. Okay, so now let's welcome Betty E to the stage, as well as the 3 awardees, Larry, please, and Dr. Junpei, as well as Mir. Yeah, please come to the stage and let's take a group photo together with the students. Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, our distinguished guests. And congratulations again. This kind of concludes our tonight's event, except one thing. In previous years, we usually had lucky draws and things like that. But tonight, obviously, you didn't see any tickets, right? But there is one little surprise if you stay until this moment. You know, the people who left, they didn't know, right? So do one thing. Touch the bottom of your table to see whether you get something. And then if the one next to you is not there, you can touch his too. Oh, we got one over there. What is that? Is that a coupon or something? Oh my goodness, it's actually several coupons for freezing clothing. We should have at least 3. How many did we have right now? Oh, there are 4. Okay, there are 4. Did you get it? Okay, we got one over there and one over there. Oh, 2 more. We got one here and one last. Okay, that one. Okay, wonderful. Great. Congratulations to all of you. Okay, thank you. So that officially concludes our today's event, and thank you so much for being here. And also, we want to thank all the distinguished guests and all of our volunteers. Thank you so much for being here, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you. So now let's welcome all